Yeah, you can skip some triggers in this one that you can't in the 3D version. You have to go to Castle Sasne. You have to get Ingus there.
Mm-hmm.
The whole intro section is just kind of awkward, especially in the 3D version. Oh yeah, Sealed Cave is just ridiculous. It's just not well balanced for whatever reason. The enemies just hit way too hard. Nine. 16. I'm not expecting it to have a job system. I think it'd be cool if it had one. I mean, so long as you have a way to customize your characters. But I know there's going to be a heavy focus on the main character. I'm not a fan of 13 and 15's system of if the main character dies, the game's over. Yeah, I enjoy the games with the jobs more. I like 3, I like 5. Someday I'm actually going to get into and play Tactics. Or like finish it. I've started it so many times, but I just never finished it. Yeah, 9 is still my favorite, even if it doesn't technically have like a party or like a job system.
Mm.
I really like 9's ability system with the equipment. Oh my god, what is going on? My fingers are just not responding.
Mm.
Oh. Yeah. Are they 5? Yeah, 5, right? 36. There's two primary reasons to kill them off. The first reason is if there's only 3 characters alive, the experience I get from battle is split. I get a bigger share. The remaining characters get a bigger share of the experience. So they will level up faster. And then the other one is that I want to keep a character at a low level so that later on I can grind them on a character that has a higher vitality stat, which means they will get a greater amount of HP when they level up. So I need one specific character much later on that can serve as the main character to get me. Oh my god, will you stop blinding me? the amount of HP that my characters gain when they level up is determined by the vitality of the job that they are. And I believe the highest vitality job that I can get early on is the monk. But in the late game, after the halfway point of the run, in terms of time, I go on a grinding segment where I basically kill everyone but one member of the party off and grind them on high vitality jobs so that they can get to a higher HP total with fewer levels.
Mhm.
And then they can essentially solo all the endgame bosses.
Mhm.
I can get them a ton of experience later on higher vitality jobs very, very quickly by killing off the rest of the group so they get a huge share of the experience, and I grind on much higher level mobs. Fine. I don't not need to do that. Thank you, chicken. Hey, Pato. We need some mage jobs because I'm forced to use Mini in some dungeons in Toad, which basically completely nerfs your ability to use any melee jobs. The magic jobs are effective, really the only way to deal damage in those scenarios. I think these guys are vulnerable to... There, I'm just stalling so I can kill off a third party member. Because I only need 2 to really get through encounters safely. Again, the fewer characters that are up there, the more experience, the greater share of experience they get from encounters. So the quicker they level up. There's not really. I'm going to try to avoid healing generally on the mountain because Bahamut's going to pick me up here, take me to his nest. There's going to be a forced fight with Bahamut. He's probably going to take a shot and kill one of the mages. And then there's a free heal right after that anyway. So everyone comes back to life immediately after. But so long as at least 2 people are alive at the start of the fight, and I issue a flee command with both of them correctly, I should run away successfully. And then we get just a cutscene here, and as soon as we get off the mountain, right after that, everybody gets back to full health instantly. I want to be level 8 before this because someone needs to learn and cast Mini so I can get into this town here. Job change back. They have Mini's a level 2 spell, so they need 1 charge of level 2 spells in order to be able to cast Mini, which requires level 8 White Mage, or I think maybe level 9 Red Mage? I'm not sure. I think those are the requirements for the classes that can cast it. Let's see. Play yourself. Target yourself. I'm stalling with the top 2 mages, but killing off my party. So I can guarantee that the bottom 2 characters are able to take themselves out of the fight before I end it. They don't get any additional experience I don't want them to have. And I'm turning the auto battle on, so now I don't have to manually activate it every fight. I have the command set up the way I want it to. Quick saving because it's a chance to die here, and I don't have any Phoenix Downs. And there are ways to res my characters, but it's inconvenient because generally speaking it reses the whole party, which means I have to spend more time killing off the extra party members if I'm forced to res someone. Not a good sign that I'm low on potions already. I can get more soon. I want to get to level 12 because that is about what I should be able to safely reach with my characters before I run out of charges on blood mages. Also raises their chances of having more charges when I rest with the higher level spells I'm about to pick up. I always do that. I don't know why. I'm like reflexively holding up that particular spot. I don't know why. I always think I have to press up, but up leads to the staircase to go back out where I just came in. Thunder. What do we do here? Oh yeah, that's right. Congratulations. I've never set up anything with channel points. I don't have any ideas for that. Probably more important if I got emotes first. This is one thing I also hate. I absolutely hate that it reverses which control in a back attack situation. It reverses the control that toggles between targeting all the enemies. Use the right trigger rather than the left trigger if I'm in a normal fight. It always throws me off. I mean, I like the simplification of MP. Charges have a certain interest. The bad thing about the charge system is that you really, really have to conserve your charges in a lot of systems because they're not usually very plentiful. Magic. That's not good. Why is he not doing that much? Oh, you just low roll? I don't know. It was really, really low. I think MP is the better system overall. That's all I'm gonna do. But spell charges were somewhat based on D&D and other earlier systems. It's a little interesting they went back to it, considering they used MP in FF2. That was another story-based spell we really need. Ooh. No, okay. That's fine. Gotta heal. Actually, no, I don't have to heal. Probably. Charges. Oh, that should be good. But Pato, I answered my own question about why we don't grab the Arctic Wind. I did not for my charges. A little important. The reason they don't pick it up is because it's not an Arctic Wind in this version, it's a Tranquilizer. It is not quite as useful. And the new... No. That's a gold? Okay, whatever. Did not feel like a gold. Thought I was losing a lot of time there. Oops, should have healed. Really should have healed. Almost made the exact same stupid mistake. All the enemies on these first two floors are weak to Blizzard. I'm focusing on Blizzard for that. The next floor has enemies that are weak to Thunder. If I have charges available, I can cast Thunder. Gotta watch out for Ruinous Wave enemies that can cast Bad Breath. I need to keep some that. Am I screwed here, basically? Probably, if I don't get a turn. Oh, I'm stunned, never mind. Right. That would help. That would make a strange place to game over, though. Damage though. I only lost 20 seconds despite 2 game overs on that whole section. Okay. Yep. You need to be Thunder. No. Awesome. Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna get a recharge after this. It really doesn't make sense that you have to be a toad to get in there. And then once you're in there, you don't need to be toad. You don't even need to get toad to get out of it. level are they? They are... Earning 19, that's fine. He's weak to ice, pretty clearly. Oh, we're just spamming that on him. Oh wow, 4 hits. Normally I have to do a follow-up round. They really high rolled on that one. Oops. Once we defeat that, we can come over here, talk to that dude, and get a whole bunch of treasure. Some of it's useful, some of it's not. Stuff it's not, we'll just sell. No more level grinding. Now we're just fleeing or healing the damage that these guys are doing. And I'm preemptively setting White Mage because I'm going to need to cast Mini on my guys in the next dungeon. And kind of a stupid story trigger thing. I pot rest everyone, so everyone's back up standing, even though I really only need 2 characters. Really don't care what happens to the 3rd and 4th guys right now. I don't expect them to survive. If they make it to the next boss fight, I expect them to die in the next boss fight. They don't have very much HP. Right. You punch him.
Mhm.
You think about what you've done.
Mhm.
He's gonna survive. Maybe he'll take a hit in place of somebody else. Alright, so we doing... Well, first things first. Oop. We are going black. We are putting that on. He's going power. Alchemy, Zeus's Wrath. And our Alchemy, Zeus's Wrath. Try it. Enough. He did it before he was going to do barrier shift. So if he had done it after that, that would have been bad. Behind rotates elemental weaknesses between fire, ice, and lightning. Every third turn, he'll cast that barrier shift and switch which one he's weak to. Whichever one he's weak to, the other ones he resists, or actually absorbs them, I think. You really don't want to just randomly target it and hope that you get the right element. Although you probably could if you get lucky. That might be like a really high-end strat at the top end of the leaderboard, but that would potentially ruin a lot of runs. Jobs, back to you, and back to you. Behind the last major boss of this section of the game. We're just doing some quick errands to get the Enterprise flying. Then we can get off the floating continent. After we defeat Hine, the King in Argus Castle gets the Wheel of Time he can give us. Then we have to take it here to Sid. Sid can give it to our ship. Make it an airship. And we are done with the floating continent for quite a while. And now we're on the surface world, which is mostly submerged right now. Time has been frozen on it. Priestess who can help us unfreeze it is right here on this wreck ship. Use this to give her something to heal her. Could be like a potion, could be an antidote. The number of consumables you could give her. Now, I was kind of testing this earlier. I think sailing is actually faster than flying, just because you have to wait out the conversion animations when you're flying. There's no encounters in this section. On the overworld, at least. Not a huge time game, but I'm pretty sure it's faster to just sail. I think you actually move faster when you're flying. But when you're taking off and landing, or converting the airship, it wastes a couple seconds of animation time. We need Arya's power to open this door. We come here without her. Or actually, if we come here without the crystal shard, can't open the door. I have actual Phoenix Downs. This isn't quite as big of a pain in the ass. Up, Trenton. Or not. So we're gonna get in a fight with Kraken here. Kraken's vulnerable to lightning. I've been picking up these Zeus's Wrath mobile items I can throw at him. And if I throw them with Scholars, with the Alchemy command, they deal double damage. So Alchemy... Oh, Zeus's Wrath. Alchemy, Zeus's Wrath. Don't care. Item. The third character is just a dummy character. To try to heal one of the other guys or absorb a hit. Didn't technically want to live there, siphon the XP, but there are worse things. Everyone's going to be alive after this. That might actually give me more survival on Goldor. Maybe. Probably not a lot, though. We had to take the crystal shard there to the water crystal. That sort of breaks the curse of the surface world where it was frozen in time. Now it surfaces and is actually a surface world. Yep. Move. What do we got? Oh, rod, book, sword. Power. And night power. One shield, one cowl, 2 bands, 1 guard, 2 V's, 1 P. Pretty sure that was everything I needed to buy and sell. We can't reach Goldor's mana. Goldor is actually like imprisoned our ship in the time that we were unconscious after that transition to the surface world. Goldor has our ship. He's in a manner that's beyond a bottomless bog, which we can't reach without leathergrass shoes. And the only person who can give us that is in the sewer over here. In the sewers, but not before we loot some stuff on that island. Alright, so we have kick yourself. Some old farts over here overheard us and thought they were the real Warriors of Lights. We have to rescue them. Get some gear from hidden treasure rooms here. Now let's try to... Okay, I want him to die up. No, don't die. Fine, whatever. Fine, actually. Oh, that's the wrong trick. Whatever. You can do that, you can do that. Let him die off again. Attack yourself. I would not have minded if they had left the capacity point system in. Because I never played it. Never played that version. Can we stop? I mean, I don't mind. I can kind of see like why they went with the penalty system. Penalty system's just annoying for a speedrun though. Because you really don't want to be down 25% of your stats when your stats really matter in this game. I mean, I'd like to be able to change classes at any time. Not have to be restricted by that. They found an alternative system and whatever, they worked with it. You are optimized. Job changed. You to thief. I need a thief in the upcoming dungeon because there are some locked doors in the game. And I have two ways to open locked doors. I can either buy a magic key, which are sold in one specific town on the floating continent, or I can just class change to thief, and a thief can pick the lock. That bottom character is the one I killed off at the very beginning of the game. Now he's on one of the highest vitality jobs. So he's getting a ton of HP on every level up now. Plus he's under leveled, so he's gaining very quick levels. He's got the level he needs. Next down. This could be a pain point. Yeah, let's go. Just forgot to attack. I always do that. This is just kind of a damage race. I'm really hoping Goldar doesn't use Thundaga, and preferably not use. This is turning around nicely, just hit a very slow start. I had an otter shroom from that treasure room I looted in Dwarven Hollows. I can use that to teleport out. Nearby Chocobo Forest, I can just go straight back to where it was. Grab my Enterprise. See, no, the world is open. Nothing can go wrong. Oh, except for this. To fly over this castle area, which is in a civil war, and shooting cannons at anything. So we lose our Enterprise. All of 30 seconds after we got it back. And the king has banished the prince of this kingdom. Prince is getting harassed here, so we save him from these hooligans. He's going to help us try to talk sense into the king. This is like a huge kingdom area. Then they have split it into 4 separate town areas plus the castle. We're gonna loot an elixir there. Equipment, remove. Oh, that's not clever. Ori. Plus monk gear, plus... that's it. Yes. I need more teleport items for later dungeons. More high potions. Our remaining money. Now we're going to confront the bad guy. You. Now we're going to confront the king, but the king invites us to stay the night first. Nope. There's nothing sus about 4 people being in one bed either. In one normal-sized bed. Oh, look, the king's gonna come see us in the middle of the night. Oh no, he's being mind-controlled. Almost stabs the prince, but he catches himself before he does that. And now we're fighting the actual instigator. Oh, yeah, nice damage. That's just a damage race there. He's got a very nasty lightning attack which can do tons of damage. And he can also just punch us. So we just go into Dragoon mode with all these guys. We bought 6 spears, so each of them can wield 2 of them. And they can also jump, and while they're in midair, they can potentially avoid some attacks. That fight could go very wrong on almost any version of this game. Really dangerous on almost every speedrun version. The engineer section of the castle rewards us by giving us a new airship that we can use. Since they blew up our other one. This one just can't float on water. It can sail in air or it can submerge underwater, which is the first submarine in the series, I think. What am I doing? I did change things, right? I'm supposed to change things. You were supposed to be a that. And you're supposed to be a Viking. Heroic. And technical. That ship's known as the Nautilus. It flies super fast. The mountain range leading to this area has strong wind gusts which resist entry by other airships, or if you try to walk. You need the very fast Nautilus airship in order to go through this area. I don't specifically remember why they tell us, or when they tell you to, like, go meet Doga here. But he tasks us with going through this little dungeon of his. You have to be in mini status to enter it, and you have to be mini status throughout it. They totally changed this version. Well, I mean, when they did the 3D version, they changed this dungeon entirely to like 3 straight corridors. The 3D version is the one I'm most familiar with, so I'm getting used to the normal version of this. So just wait. There's no more fights, I don't think, after this room. Plus, I have to do another mini to cast this off after this is over with. For whatever reason, Doga can cast a spell which allows our ship to submerge. I forgot we didn't have that yet. But we need that to get an item called Noah's Loot, which is in an underwater dungeon. That'll be our next destination. Since I don't have to worry about switching, where we go? Yeah, I'm here. I don't need to be mini anymore, and I have enough high potions. I can just switch my mage to another thief to help with running away. This is the dungeon we need to go to get Noah's loot. I'm not fighting anything here because it's going to be better spots to grind experience later. I'm just looting a few things while we're here. I'm getting Noah's loot. And I also need thieves to be able to break the locks to get a couple spots here. Need a few more things before I can start grinding my character. We're more or less done here. There's just one treasure room off to the side, hidden behind these waterfalls. Some important gear though that we need. Pick up 2 protect rings, put it on the thieves, and then we got out with an otter shroom. I gotta take Noah's loot to... Holy shit. Land, hang on. I forget what her title is, the Dream Waker. This is Yune. Yune is just here resting. She's like the guardian of the dream world or whatever, and the only way to wake her up is to play the lute to her. Flappy Bird's doing his thing. We need her to be able to access the next dungeon, plus she gives us the Fang of Fire, which is one of the three items, one of the key items we need to be able to get through the barrier that's blocking the last area of the game. We come here to the ancient ruins. There's these gray dream rocks. They're blocking us, but Yune can remove them. Doing this to get access to a very advanced airship at the end of the dungeon. We do have two different airships we'll be using to visit various locations. They have different travel properties. Okay, I'm picking up some critical items here. There, plus the speed. Selling all the spears I bought earlier, plus some stuff I picked up. Just for money, I have enough to buy 2 blood lances. I went the wrong way. No, I did not go the wrong way, did I? Confusing myself. I'll be using the blood lances with a dragoon as part of the grinding. And once I have access to the Invincible, which is the other airship we're picking up here, I have everything I need to be able to grind. Oh, it's not there? That's weird. I was watching an NES speedrun. You can actually walk through that wall on the NES version. I wonder if why they took that out. That's a bummer. I don't want to heal these guys, my thieves, too much because I'm going to be killing them off for a grind. Short order. The Viking is in super defensive mode. Once he reaches critical HP, very hard for him to take damage. This is like the warship, the Invincible. Has some pretty sweet amenities, like shops and a bed. And access to the Fat Chocobo, which is completely pointless in this version of the game. There's like an item storage system in the original version. which had a much more restrictive inventory limit. So it serves almost no purpose in this, especially nothing for the speedrun. Alright, so now we have access to that. Our first destination. For grinding is a sunken cavern over here. Click, move. Oh, I did not put... Didn't put his gear on. I should flee from this then. Scram. Not in the right... Didn't fix my Vikings gear. Okay. Now I will be in a position to grind. So now I want them to die off, and I want him to grind by using this item called the Thorian Hammer. Cast Thundara for no cost. Meanwhile, he's in critical, but he's not taking much damage from attacks. We're just going to grind a bunch of levels with him as a Viking here to get some HP, and then I'm going to switch him to a Dragoon. Start gaining job levels on him. I'm going to take one more, which should give me one more level. Then we're going to switch to Dragoon, loot a couple things on the next floor, and come back here and resume our grind in earnest. This first step is just to get his max HP up. It's also a very efficient way to kill enemies pretty safely. 23. The Dragoon's now going to be jumping on enemies, dodging a lot of their attacks. He's got 2 Blood Lances equipped, which each drain 25% of the damage I'm doing, so that's 50% of his damage total. And now we're going to be putting some higher defensive gear on, getting off this floor, and we'll grind. Every fight, I should have enough actions to gain a job level. Basically, I can just keep track of how many fights I've been as a Dragoon by the job level. Now we're grinding job levels and character levels for this one character so that he can essentially solo all the remaining bosses in the game. It takes a little while to do this, but having only one character means I can funnel the experience all to him instead of 4 guys. The animations are really quick with the auto battle system. I don't have to really do anything in terms of inputs because it's repeating my commands at battle, so I just have to get in there, hope I do not die from back attacks and some other nonsense. We're just going to be jumping for a while here. This is the stage 1 of the grind. Probably going to be here until roughly level 38 on this character. Would take a little bit over another 20 fights or so. And we're going to change to a location that has higher experience enemies once we are better equipped to handle them. This is the unfortunate, little bit of a boring part of the run, but this is a very effective strategy and fairly quick, all things considered. Pretty low maintenance overall, just because he can jump on these enemies and drain most of the damage he needs to recover any health he loses. So, minimizes healing, keeps the action going at a steady pace. You really just gotta worry about back attacks or low damage rolls, not draining as much as I need to heal. The periodic quick save should just keep this rolling. Right, we have reached level 30 on my character. I'd like to reach roughly 38 before I move on. Okay, 31. First few levels of grinding are usually the most dangerous, because my HP totals are lower. Once I get to around this part, it's much more difficult for me to die something. These enemies don't have any like really nasty attacks or anything. They can hit me hard enough in certain circumstances. They only really do physical attacks, or cast Lazaro, which doesn't do a lot to me with the gear I have on. I don't really have any statuses or anything. It's a low risk area to grind. My HP totals up, but I can tackle the enemies in the higher level area for grinding. We're at 33. This might be a more dangerous fight if it was not these enemies. They don't do a lot of damage. The only downside of back attacks is more enemy animations, and if I get the wrong enemies here, the damage is lowered in the back row, and I started the back row if I'm getting back attacked. That may lengthen these fights. It's a pretty harmless back attack, that one. This group of enemies, or one of the other groups of enemies that have harder physical attacks, I'd be taking more damage. I'd be taking less damage by doing less damage. That would just increase the number of animations I gotta sit around waiting for the enemies to take their turns. 34. If my character was lower level, I might consider just running from these fights, because some of these fights might drag out if I'm only doing half damage. I'm not really in any danger at this point. Or shouldn't be. At least for this section of the grinding. Alright, 35. 3 more levels, roughly. Six. What is my job level? My job level is at 25. Tends to be around 28 when this is done. I probably have 3 or 4 fights left before I'm done. Alright, one more level. Alright, should be the next fight then. Okay, 38. Alright, grind section 1 is all set. Which airships? We can reach the next location for grinding. Let's go back to the floating continent from the start of the game. And the key feature this airship has is it can fly over certain mountain ranges that are like 1 tile wide. Logistically doesn't really make any sense. But now we're here in Bahamut's lair, and we're just going to grind here instead. These enemies give probably about 50% more XP than the enemies from the previous area per fight. But danger part of grinding here, these grenade enemies can use a self-destruct attack and ruin my day. I want to just be very careful that I quick save here frequently. I don't get accidentally exploded and game overed. The only enemies I'm really worried about are the grenades, but a back attack here could be very painful too. These Drake enemies are really great targets for me though, because they take tons of damage from the spears I'm doing. Spears I'm using with the Dragoon. Basically, anytime I land a hit on them, it's a full heal. Reach level 40 here. My goal is to try to reach level 43 on this floor, and then I'm going to move to the next floor. There's one piece of treasure I can grab, and then I'm going to finish my grind on that floor. I'm really just raising my levels enough where I can guarantee that I can survive the hits from the enemies on the next floor, as well as do enough damage with my jump attacks to guarantee they die in one hit. In regular attacks, at least. If it's a back attack, things might get a little hairy. One. Grenades have been pretty cooperative so far. I haven't had any back attacks yet, so that's pretty good. 32. I want one more level before I move on. Nice. One more fight should be. So then, alright. That can be dangerous. Probably not too bad though, just because I did just change into front row, which means I'm back road on this fight. I'm not taking a ton of damage from the attacks. Unfortunately, my damage is a little low when I'm in the back row. This fight will speed up as fewer enemies are there. I do not want to enter a fight low health. This is the final grind section. I'm going to take this until my character is roughly level 52. It should push my max health over 3,000. It should put me in pretty good shape to be able to handle the remaining bosses in the game. Be a little careful about greater bros because they can have a chance to petrify and hit. Although I'm not sure if my gear is able to prevent that or not. I haven't been petrified by them recently, which makes me wonder if in some of my other learning runs I had the wrong gear on. The other enemies just do physical, so I'm not worried about it. There's no grenades on this floor. Can't explode on me. These laggers really hurt, though. I put a shield on, which raises my defense against their attacks, but it also lowers my damage output. Now I only have one blood spear equipped. Means I'm only leeching 25% of the damage instead of 50. It's usually still enough damage to kill all the enemies. Level 46. 6 more levels. Still gonna take a number of fights though. These fights give good experience, but they are... the amount of experience I need between levels is just getting higher and higher. So I'm expecting about 25 more fights roughly. Alright, 47. I can pick quick save so I don't have to eat large segments if something goes horribly wrong. I'm level 59. I'm pretty reliably gaining 1 job level for every fight at this point. And this part of the grind usually ends around job level 80, so that's me about 20 fights left now. Alright. 48. Character level. Making progress. Slow but steady. Nine. Only about 3 more levels. Probably possible to get away with less levels. I'm still relatively new to this category. I'm gonna play it safer. If I want to improve on future runs, I'll improve on future runs. Starting to approach the end of the grind. Only about 10-ish fights left. Job level 70. Alright, character level 50. 2 more character levels. 8 or 9 fights. Two. Four. Five. We'll be hitting 51 this battle, I think. One more level. Probably take 5 fights. I'm probably going to go a little over what I usually do at this point. In terms of job levels. That's not really a bad thing. Either will make no difference, or it may have a positive benefit. It's not going to negatively impact me. Other than taking time. Only a handful more. is. Okay. Alright, we're done grinding. No, we're good. Or no, that's right. We have to remain on the Invincible. Head to the Cave of Shadows over here, which involves a maze, mountain passages, fly over these one-tile blockages into these little sections. I can get random encounters here in midair. I've changed jobs to Thief, so I can run away from fights. I'm not going to be taking any fights in minute while I'm here. I'm just going to be heading to the boss of the Cave of Shadows. Single character is pretty buff enough to just be able to handle these encounters. The gimmick of the Cave of Shadows is all these hidden passages, although they've made them extremely visible in this version. The gimmick is not that big of a deal. It was definitely a big deal in the original version. I'm here because I have to fight the boss, which is guarding the last elemental fang, the Fang of Earth. In order for me to reach the last area of the game, I need to collect the 4 elemental fangs and clear the 4 elemental statues. 4 sets of elemental statues that are guarding that area. Still kind of learning the maps for this place because they changed it pretty significantly in the 3D remake version. I'm just not familiar with this particular version. I should probably heal, but I'm just going to try to run it. If I don't take any more hits, I should be okay. Not a guarantee, though. I'm going to try it. This is the boss floor. fine. I want to make sure he's got a certain amount of HP just to be able to survive this opening turn. Oh Jesus, that was quick. Might be a little over leveled. Okay though. But I need that more on last couple boss fights. Alright, so job. Back to you again. Oops. Alright, I have the 4 elemental fangs. That will clear the barriers. Fortunately, there is one additional barrier that I need inside the final dungeon. We'll take one quick story detour to grab one more key item. Technically 2, but I'm only going to use one of them. In order to reach the last area, I have to switch airships. Yoga and Yune invite me back here. I can get the last key item. Last 2 key items. Just one hitch to get that. Unfortunately, I kind of have to prove my worthiness to them and challenge them in Mortal Kombat. I don't want to, but they're going to force me. Actually, they're kind of pushovers. With the Dragoon, at least. I have to challenge them separately in 2 consecutive fights. No opportunity to heal or change anything between them. The last 2 key items are the Eureka Key and the Circus Key. No, we're not doing that yet. That's right. Take that right. Oh, and setting up one final. Oops, what's wrong? Those are the last key items. Now the last thing I want to do set up a decoy character for the final section of the game. Alright, so we come back down here. Around here. Make the final transition. Alright, so that's the last airship switch. I have to go through these elemental statues with the fangs. Unfortunately, can't do that while I'm on the ship, so I have to walk it and then walk back and board the ship. I need the invincible because a one-tile bridge up there that I have to be able to cross. Oops, I forgot to switch him back to a thief. Alright, so now I have everything I need for the rest of the game. Alright. I don't need any more fights. Only one more optional fight. Then there are 6 bosses between here and the end, including one additional unskippable boss that's not winnable. I resurrected my white mage, and she was equipped with golem stabs by default. Golem stabs, when you attack your target, it does a gradual petrify effect. So she had to hit herself twice to petrify herself. The advantage of petrifying it is that the petrified character can act as a decoy that can be the target of spells and abilities. That can potentially siphon attacks away from my living character, give him a greater chance of survivability in later fights. And also attacks that go against that exclusively land, or if only one character's on the screen, because I'm going to be jumping a lot in the last boss fights. If it's the only available target on screen, it skips the animation and saves a bunch of time. Alright, so we're here. There's the tower. This is the entrance to the final overall section. This is split into 2. I need the circus key for this one. Eureka key's not needed unless I go to the optional area Eureka, which I will not do. I don't need any of the bonus equipment that's there. It's entirely optional. Usually a pretty good area to go if you're playing with the endgame jobs Ninja Sage. We are not using those. Ninja has access to a very wide variety of weapons. Sage has access to almost all the spells. They're sort of super classes. We already have a pretty effective strategy though with the Dragoon. There's just a lot of false walls here that I have to be able to quickly spot. Little cracks in the walls if you're looking carefully. Really the only visual indicator. Blinded. That's just going to waste time healing that. But I don't need to heal it until I get to the boss. If I heal it now, there's always a chance I could run into another enemy, just the exact same thing. I'm not going to bother healing that until I get near the boss. For whatever reason, in the Pixel Remasters, they made it so that petrified characters can be the target of spells and abilities. Oops, hold on. I gotta do... I don't want to do that. Petrified characters also actually gain experience for whatever reason. It was never like that in other versions. In any of the Pixel Remasters. So even though that white mage is petrified, he will be gaining experience from any fights I actually do finish from this point on. No, it won't serve any purpose though, because I'm not planning to unpetrify her or do anything with her other than use her as a decoy for attacks and spells. So a trap was set here in Crystal Tower at the top. Looking into this mirror triggers the Curse of the Five Dragons, which can only be done by recruiting 5 souls to help us out. So we're just collecting all the various partners we got throughout the game. Including one of the old men. Nope, I did not want to do that. That's what I wanted to do. I did not realize this until I was watching Zero Scar stream, but the Japanese runners that I was basing my route on, I was following the world record run, they would attack on the opening round of this fight, and then auto battle jump from there on. And as I understand it, the reason to do that is because Zan alternates attacks between an AoE attack and a single target spell. If I delay one round and then jump, on the round that I'm landing, he will always cast a single target spell. And since I will be in midair at the start of the round, that will automatically target the dummied character and miss. And it can't target me, which means the only way I'm able to get hit is by the AoE spells. They're probably not going to be able to do enough damage to kill me, though, with the way that I'm jumping. I should be able to land and reliably heal the damage. Oh yeah, I had like a 6-minute time loss on the end of my PB. That's right, because I died like 4 times on him. This is the actual final boss, but he's powered up and I can't beat her in this version. He auto kills me here. Logan Yune's spirits are still here. Resurrect the party one last time. Send us to the world of darkness where we can find the power to counteract the cloud. I need to switch you. Scram. Me. Hey, so here. How are you? Job. One optional fight here, please. Hope you're enjoying the summer. I'm taking this optional fight to get a ribbon, which will help counteract elements. Yeah, oh, that could be dangerous. I'm alive. Just back to full health. Okay, you're fine. I'm going to utilize the odd round strategy with jumping again. So I'm going to attack here for 1 round, then auto battle jump. So we have to free these dark crystals. Each one's guarded by a boss. I take the boss down, but they have tons of health. These are lengthy fights. I'm doing good. It's roasting in the heat. And family visiting next weekend. Looking forward to that. Cerberus has 60,000 health. Oh, Georgia's got to be a swamp. Yeah. I have a brother that lives in Virginia. It's muggy down there this time of year. Probably even warmer in Georgia. It was really bad because his AC was down for a couple weeks. Just recently got repaired.
Mm.
Okay. And most importantly, I actually have to interact with the crystals one time. These Dark Warriors spawn. Need their help. Yeah, I'm really curious why they have not put them on additional platforms. I kind of figured once they were all released, they were going to put them on Switch or something. I'm basically going to be using the same strategy on almost all these fights from this point on. The only change I'm going to be making is when I switch to Dragoon, the optimal equipment puts on Diamond Armor on the body slot, which offers more physical defense. But I have another piece of armor called Reflective Mail, which helps against spells and raises stats. Raises a couple other stats. So for spell-heavy fights, I'm going to be putting that on instead. Echidna's got 70,000 HP.
Mm.
Yeah, I did my 4-job fiesta for the year. I started it on stream, and then I realized that, like, I didn't feel like playing it on stream, so I just kind of finished it off stream. I'm trying to remember what my party was. I did the chaos mode. If anyone's not familiar with that, that's the Final Fantasy V 4-job fiesta, which is a yearly event that kicks off in June and runs usually throughout the summer. And the challenge run where you restrict yourself to using only 4 specific jobs that are chosen at random for the entirety of the game. The beautiful part of the game is no matter which 4 jobs are chosen, you can beat the game.
Mm.
They've yet to run a combination that it cannot finish the game, and I'm not aware of any combination that cannot finish the game. Okay, so that's 2 of the Worlds of Darkness bosses down. The Crystal Warriors freed. 2 more of those. No. We're not going to need to heal there. Is another case of nothing, right? Yes. Probably not in danger of dying to Ahriman here unless I get really unlucky. With back-to-back turns. I have a pretty high HP total at this point, so that would be difficult for him to kill me. As long as I heal for a good amount of damage. The only really random element of this is he can choose to cast Kiraga on a round, which heals him for a little bit less than 6,000. That usually lengthens his fight by a few rounds for each time he does that. In most fights, he tends to do that 3 or 4 times. He's got the most HP of all these 4 bosses, though. He's got 75,000. Yeah, I'm trying to remember my combination. I had a Thief. My 4-job Fiesta combination. I had a Thief, I had a Chemist. I had a Berserker. Was it a monk? Was the last one a monk? I can't remember. I don't think it was a monk. If you search the player list on the website, you can see what I had. I know I had a Thief, I know I had a Chemist, I know I had a Berserker. Oh, I had a Knight, that's right. I had a Knight for the last guy. I actually grabbed the Brave Blade. I was wielding all sorts of swords, so now he's getting all the Kirages off. It was a pretty melee heavy build, and no real casters. Oh yeah, that's about even with my normal. Okay. Rescue the 3rd warrior. Job. Switch to that and run away. Fights. This is the last of these. No, don't do that. Let's be careful there. Thank God, okay. This is kind of a dangerous fight not to start with full health. If he lands a physical attack, his physical attacks really, really hurt. But he only does physical attacks, this boss. So having the decoy is a great way to increase the survivability of my Dragoon. Can't take 2 back-to-back hits. But so long as I jump in between any two hits, I'm okay on this fight. Or if he targets the dummy white mage, I'm okay. He's only got, what, 60,000? He's got 70,000, I think? No, 65. If I do happen to dive on this, or die on this, I do have an autosave is created at the transition of every room that I enter. I would just have to load the autosave, and it would just repeat this fight. Same goes for most boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
The original version of this game was absolutely brutal in terms of its game design. FF3, Final Fantasy in general did not actually invent like mid-dungeon save points until FF4. So if you play the Famicom version of this, or if you play the PSP version, which has no glitching and no auto-saving, then you have to go all the way back to the start of the Crystal Tower. I mean, this is a pretty hefty PB right now, so long as I do not die on Cloud. I have a pretty hefty HP total though, so I'm not super worried about dying here. But she can do anything she wants. This is a very lengthy fight, so... Here's a fun fact. If you do not rescue all 4 of these guys from the crystals after each fight, and you miss one of them, then you start this fight, and she's exactly in that same invulnerable state as the earlier fight. This basically means it's a game over. She's got 120,000 this time, but she likes to spam this particle beam move. Does a lot of damage. The only thing I'm bummed about in this version is that they didn't use the model with the extra particle effects for this fight. Because I think it would have looked awesome. I mean, the beauty of auto battle is I don't have to use my hands. Press the button to turn it on and let the rest of it play out. Yeah, her behavior in this version and the Famicom version, she spams this particle beam one. She can do occasional physical attacks, not very common. They completely changed her in the 3D version, though. So she likes to do particle beam in that one, but some of those, or 2 of those like snake-like looking things behind her are also targetable things in that version. They rebalance the fight by making them, each of them have a turn every combat round, and they rebalance a lot of the fights to get against bosses by giving them multiple attacks in the same round. So between that and the 2 enemies they added, she gets 4 attacks. But she doesn't. But she has a wider range of attacks, so she can do physical attacks, which is like a slap animation in the 3D version. New particle beam, which still hurts there too. You can like cast protect on herself and stuff. I have all gold splits because I've only done like maybe 4 total time runs so far. And this is basically, this is very much how she used to be in like the Family Time version. Much prettier, more particle effects though. I love the particle effects in these games. They're great. Okay, this is a little dangerous here. That's might be a game over. Fuck. That sucks. Lame. Did I change? Yes, I did. Lame. Well, that's going to cost me a few minutes. Fight usually takes like 4 minutes if you auto battle it start to finish. That cost me probably a couple minutes. Yeah, I got caught out and I didn't heal enough. Unfortunately, that was kind of deep in the fight. If she'd killed me in like the first 30 seconds, it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. The only other thing I can do is have one safety elixir I could use at a pinch. A little dangerous to use it though, because I'm exposing myself to another particle beam. Unless I'm very lucky and she chooses to physical and hits the dummy white mage target. It probably still has a chance at 250. As long as I don't get caught out again on a bad series of particle beams back to back. Once again, a little low again. That will help. That was a good hit. I'm okay for the moment.
Mm.
Be just about dead. Oh, I'm just gonna miss 250. You must have been really close to death, though. Exactly 4 minutes. Nice. Dang. It's a giant PB, but that would have been an even larger PB if she hadn't just killed me. Well, that's another 4 minutes I can save easy. I gotta look at the newest run that was submitted on the leaderboard, because there's a new world record for this one now, down to 2:34. Very curious what that run does, because the record before that was a 2:37. So saving a couple minutes. I mean, it could be the same route with just some better RNG, but I'm guessing there's cutting some things out, or maybe going lower leveled, maybe less grinding, and then just praying. I did a run a couple of days ago where I tried to cut the grind like 1 or 2 levels shorter than I usually do. And it seemed to lengthen every fight, like all these end game fights, by about 30 seconds, so it didn't really pan out. It saved me like 5 minutes of grinding, and then I lost 30 seconds at every fight, and lowered my chance of success on them, and died a bunch on them. So it didn't really pan out. But you could definitely get through this at a lower level than I am. But that feels good. That was at least like a pretty clean run. Unfortunately, just that death on Cloud at the very end. I think I had like 2 deaths just after killing Medusa on the overworld segment. They didn't cost me much time at all. I can definitely improve this time, though. I have a lot of execution to improve on this one. I struggle a lot with the menuing on this one. It doesn't come to me as naturally as FF2 did, for some reason. But one thing I did with FF2 is I never turned the memory cursor on in FF3 Pixel Remaster. It doesn't really benefit much in that game. You're either usually attacking or you're just running away. And if the cursor's by default set to attack, it takes 2 quick inputs to get to flee from anywhere. Just works better for me. So it's a little... memory cursor just throws me off in this one. Thank you guys for the GGs. I'm probably going to highlight this, throw it up. I should probably submit it to the leaderboard. I haven't submitted anything to the leaderboard yet. This is probably good enough to submit. I know I can improve it, but there's no reason not to submit it at this point. And then I gotta do my limit break submissions. I'll probably do that tonight. Gotta find the VODs for everything. It's hard to believe it's almost been a year since these came out already. They came out on the 28th last year. But they've been out almost a year now. A lot of them are going to be in the upcoming FF Relay that's going to be towards the end of next month. I think it's the weekend of the 26th next month. hoping to participate playing this, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have a good enough time yet or not. I still have several weeks to submit runs, but I want to get more familiar with this before I submit or start doing legit practice runs.
Mm.
I need to know how to handle various situations where things go wrong. You can take advantage of autosaving a lot, but it just costs some time. Quick saving can help that too. Okay. What is it, 28th? 28th is Thursday. Doing anything Thursday? I can maybe play 2 or 3. Celebration of the release last year. Maybe? I don't know, that's an option. I mean, my immediate plans are I'm going to keep playing this because I need to get just more practice in. I can still improve this time, and I just need more practice in general to get used to the menuing, the maps in terms of when I get onto a map, I can, if I remember what the map looks like when I reach the next map, I can like hold the button in the direction I need to travel. There's a couple that I'm still pressing the wrong direction, or I'm just not sure what it is, so I'm delaying there and losing some seconds to delaying that. It's better to delay than go the wrong direction, honestly. Because if you go the wrong direction, then you're taking extra steps, and which will generally incur extra encounters if you keep doing it over and over again. The grind went pretty smooth. The only thing I did was I screwed up the very first fight that I was grinding on because I did not put the right gear on my Viking. I was able to flee that, put it on, and then pick up where I was going. I really didn't lose anything from that. Didn't die at any point in the grinding. I don't remember even seeing like many self-destructs from grenades or anything. I had a couple back attacks which were a little bit slow, but that's going to happen when you're taking 80-something fights. It's inevitable that you're just going to be taking one. If you recognize it early on, you can probably run away and save a little time and then just take an extra fight that comes out as a regular fight. Or a preemptive, which will go faster. This music is so good. That was like by far the biggest surprise, was how good the soundtracks for these games came out. I was not expecting that, and I was so happy about it. I'm really bummed that one wall in Ancient Ruins is not a false wall in this version. It's a really minor shortcut, but considering these are supposed to be based on the original versions of the game, I'm a little surprised it's not in there. Because there's a lot of there's a really prominent false wall that was in the Famicom version of FF2 that has been totally removed in all subsequent remakes. But they actually put it back in the Pixel Remaster. And I knew about it. I was so happy when I discovered that it was in there. Because it shortens this one floor, this very long floor that you otherwise have to twist and take a much longer path. It greatly shortens that floor. Ooh, the Japanese runner is in FF3. Rubaishi. The Rubaishi? I don't know. I don't know how you pronounce that. He's doing, I think, a glitchless FF3 Famicom. I've seen him playing this occasionally. It's always interesting to see this version of the game. We never got that, so it just, I'm super curious about it. Every version uses like totally different strats. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so that's gonna do it for me tonight. Ooh. Get that handsome party. Okay. Yes. Alright, let me save that.